Because speaking of fundamental and having to pay your bills, there is a Senate Bill 408 that is out that is really going to affect businesses. And we have asked Michelle Born-Fischer, who is an attorney and also used to be our legal counsel, and she's going to explain that to us and the effects it's going to have on businesses. And then, of course, I'd love our state folks to respond.
All right. I'm old, so I have readers now. My name is Michelle Born-Fischer. I'm a local attorney. My firm has an office in Kentwood and one in Greenville. I was very involved with the chamber for the last 10 years, so I know quite a few people here already. I'm a creditor's rights attorney, so I deal with debt that's owed to financial institutions, auto finance dealers, on credit cards, landlords, small businesses. I'm not an expert on this bill or the politics behind how the bill was introduced or what's ahead of it. I was only made aware of it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm trying to educate myself on it as well. It's my opinion that SB 408 would effectively eliminate the collection of already obtained money judgments. So it sets the limits and exemptions so high that it would create a whole class of uncollectible people. We hear about the debt forgiveness program with student loans. This reminds me of something very similar. So we have all these judgments out there that would not be collectible. And then looking forward to the future, let's say if this bill were to pass and I get a money judgment, again, all of this future debt would also be uncollectible. The key points of the bill that concern me, so it primarily pertains to post-judgment collection. So someone's already obtained a valid money judgment. They've already paid their court fees, attorney fees, process server fees. They have this judgment. I should mention pre and post-judgment collection of debt is very heavily regulated already by state and federal laws. We have a ton of them already in place, but this bill would severely limit the ability to garnish someone's wages. As an example, an individual could make $60,000 per year, a household could make $100,000 per year before they could be garnished. It fails to mention that we already have protections in place if people need to stop wage garnishments. We also, obviously, we have the bankruptcy laws. That's a separate option that people have available. The bill would totally eliminate state tax refund garnishments. It would allow an individual to have up to $17,000 in a single bank account before that could be garnished. It would place additional requirements and liability on banks to go through. They would have to go back 90 days and look at somebody's bank account. The cost of that on our financial institutions would be huge, plus the potential liability that they would face. So overall, the bill would make it economically unfeasible for creditors to sue and then collect on the majority of consumer debt. So it would create a class of consumers who would be judgment-proof and not required to pay their debts. The people and businesses who have gone through all the work, and like I said, they've already paid the fees, would be left with a piece of paper that you might as well throw out because you can't collect on it. So I have a really small firm, 2 attorneys, 3 support staff. I don't know exactly how many judgments we have. I'll just put a number out there. Let's say I have 2,000 current judgments. 95% of those, I would say, are done, uncollectible, if this were to pass. If I can give you 3 short examples of how this would affect some of my clients and my family. One of my clients is an auto financer, not the big guys, just a little guy who finances vehicles. If somebody stopped paying for that vehicle, or what we have a lot of times, a vehicle is in a crash and the insurance had lapsed, they wouldn't be able to recover any of that money. So why would they continue to lend? They wouldn't. They would have to stop that. This dealer also does some car repair work. And sometimes people can't pay. Let's say your car repair bill is $2,000. They might not be able to pay that day. I know some places will then hold your car till you can pay, but this place says, we'll let you sign a promissory note. You pay us $100 a month or whatever it might be. He'd have to stop that as well, because if the person stops paying, you're not going to sue them, you're not going to get a money judgment because you're not going to collect. So things like that would stop. Another client is a landlord. So you can have like a complex, or a lot of people individually have rental property. They then, if somebody stops paying their rent, you have a whole set of rules you have to file to evict the person. But then you also have a set of rules to get a money judgment against them for the damages that exceed the security deposit that they paid. If a landlord can't collect on those things, why would you rent? Or I've been a landlord in the past, and I would charge a quadruple security deposit in order to protect myself. So we have a housing problem already. To me, this would just add to that. The third example is my teenage daughter. She works at a fast food restaurant right now, full-time during the summer, part-time during school. So we're trying to teach her about a savings account and investing and things like that. She's not quite old enough for credit, but if this bill passes, I don't think she has to worry about credit. She won't be able to attain it because the cost of credit and the availability of credit would be too outrageous for her to qualify. So some of these consequences are just the tip of the iceberg if you think about what happens when you can't collect on debt that's owed. It would affect everybody. I do have a handout that I can pass out afterwards, and I will say it was prepared by the Michigan Creditors Bar Association, so it's from our side of things. But if anyone's interested, I do have the handout.
Michelle, that was wonderful. Thank you. We may